Hey guys, Nate K here, and you're listening to the Innovation Freak Podcast, where every single Wednesday I bring to you a new episode where I get to chat with a new innovative technology leader somewhere around the world, where I get to chat with Luis, who is one of the team members of a company called OneUP. For those of you that are going to be going to the pool, going to the beach, going to be going to a lake or something along those lines, if you're going to be around water at all this summer, you're definitely going to want to tune in to this episode where I get to chat with Luis and learn about their portable life preserver. It's on Indiegogo right now if you're listening to this in May of 2018. This life preserver is really, really cool. It's really small, it's portable, it's about the size of maybe a soda can, maybe a little bit bigger. And as soon as it hits the water, it deploys and inflates, which is really cool. So you can throw this to someone in need without having to go find a life preserver and carry it over to them. All right, without further ado, let's dive right into this interview. All right, Luis, so we got to talk a little bit offline, and I know that you're in Spain and it's really nice where you are right now. So I wish I was there. And I really like your product, the OneUp. But for those listeners out there that don't know who you are and haven't seen your product on Indiegogo yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there?
Well, this I would like to talk not only about me, but Saul, my partner, because he's the one who invented OneUp, you know? So I can tell you like a little bit the story of how he came up with the idea and how and why I joined him.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, my background, I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I like traveling, and I've been doing business for over 15 years. I'm actually now specialized in manufacturing and commercializing products. I started mainly in the toy world. I do drones and any kind of electronic gadgets. And I joined Saul because he came up to me with the idea of this floatable and revolutionary device that is going to change the world in water safety. And he was asking me so much different questions about how to start the business, how to start the idea, where could he get materials to do the prototypes. And at the beginning, I helped him as a friend. We are two surfers. We see each other every day in the water when we surf. So he came up to me with many questions about all the different stages he was going on. And by talking every day about the product, I fell in love with his idea and his project. And we finally joined and made OneUp be possible.
Could you kind of tell us a little bit about OneUp and what it is?
Yeah, OneUp is a floatable, portable device. It's a life float the size of a soda can that when in contact with water automatically inflates and ends up being a normal life float. So actually what we have done is reduce 20 times normal and bulky life float and turn it into a portable device that you can carry with you all the time.
So basically it looks like a soda can, and it's an inflatable life preserver that as soon as it hits the water, it inflates, correct?
Yeah, that's right. In less than 2 seconds, it automatically inflates and comes and turns into a normal life float.
So let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us the story of why OneUp ever came to an idea, let alone a prototype and ready for manufacturing?
Yes, actually, Saul, my business partner, was watching a documentary about immigrants in the Mediterranean. And he was really shocked when he saw this documentary because he was watching some guys approaching the immigrants in boats, arriving, especially we have lots of problem here in Europe from people coming from all over the world, especially Africa, and arriving to Europe to chase their dream. And the rescuers that arrived first to the dramatic scene where many people were drowning found that they could not help everybody at the same time. Imagine yourself a boat that just has left the immigrants floating in the sea because the captain doesn't want to be chased. Those are illegal mafia, and they go back to their country of origin and leave the immigrants floating couple of 100 meters from the coast. And you can imagine 60 to 70 people drowning at the same time, and two rescuers arriving in a jet ski on a small boat, and only being able to save one or two people that are not concentrated in the area where everybody is focused, just peripheric. And so it was really sad to hear about this, only saving one or two people at the time, and seeing everybody else drowning. So Saul came up with the idea, why don't create something light, compact, portable, that could be thrown from a distance without endangering the rescuer? And this is how he came up with the idea of OneUP.
So before, when we were chatting before we actually hit record and before this interview, you were talking a little bit about safety. Could you kind of go over what you were telling me before the interview?
Yeah, drowning is one of the leading causes of death worldwide. Actually, it's the 10th cause of death in the world. 360,000 people die every year. That's around 42 people every hour dying in the world. In countries like in the States, it's like the fifth cause of death. So people are not really conscious about this problem. We are more conscious about car accidents and so on, because there has been many advertising campaigns about done from the government, like about speed, high speed, and alcohol and drugs on the car. But the governments all over the world haven't been focused on this problem. So we can see lately that the WHO, the World Health Organization, is talking about they want to eradicate this problem, like they did with many diseases in the 70s and in the 80s, because it's more a matter of consciousness and culture, and be prepared to save someone. This is where OneUP is important, because OneUP can be available for everybody. You know, if we aim to build a safety network where the citizens are the rescuers.
Is that what you hope to do, is kind of get it out to mainstream and have everybody that's going to a pool, beach, or something along those lines on a boat to have one of these OneUP?
Yes, actually, at the beginning, when we started the project, we first thought about this problem with the immigrants. But when we started to go to the street and ask people and do market research, we found out that there was a bigger necessity. We find out about these statistics and about these deaths, and we saw that everybody could have a OneUP. Not only these rescuers or lifeguards and so on, but also any normal citizens, especially if you're a fisherman or if you do any water activity, if you're on holiday, beach days, fishing, water sports, and so on, or even going to the pool. This is a portable device the size of a soda can, so you can carry it every day. I mean, we carry our sun lotion every day because we are conscious about the problems because of the sun, but we are not aware of this problem about drowning. So if we carry OneUP, we are ready if someone is in need of help.
You said that there's about 360,000 deaths from drowning every year. How much as a percentage do you think you could change that with the OneUP?
That's a very difficult question to answer, but we believe there's a high percentage. I would like to see in a couple of years what is the answer to this question. But I believe there is a big percentage that we can reduce, because the main problem is the first 20 to 60 seconds. In 20 to 60 seconds, a person can drown. So we're talking about acting quick. We are not talking about calling the police or calling a rescuer, waiting for them to act. We're talking about acting when somebody sees someone in danger, in need of help. So the first seconds are really crucial. So if OneUP is available because everybody has it in the car, in the bag, or in any place near the coast, maybe we can start placing them in posts in the coastal areas or in the lakes and so on. So having one up available. There are some people that compare us to the fire extinguisher. We don't want to. When the fire extinguisher was invented, it wasn't invented to avoid the firemen, but to act before they came.
Oh yeah, I like that analogy.
That's right. So we like to say the same. We're not gonna stop the lifeguards doing their job, which is really necessary, but we can help the guy in need of help before the lifeguard arrives.
Where did the idea of having this life preserver inflate as soon as it hits the water? Where'd you guys come up with that idea?
Well, as I told you before, my partner Saul, when he saw this documentary, he said that because he saw many people drowning at the same time, and these rescuers only being able to rescue one or two people, so he said, why don't create something light, compact, and portable, especially portable, because you can carry it everywhere with you. Imagine if two guys in a jet ski, they can carry 50 one-ups or 100 one-ups in a small box and can be thrown really quickly and save all these people.
You also said that it takes about 20 to 60 seconds for someone to drown. And if I remember correctly, you also said that it takes about 2 seconds for the one up to start to inflate. How long does it take from when it hits the water till it's fully inflated?
Yeah, when it hits the water, it just needs the water salt. Sorry, when it hits the water, it just needs the salt pot to dissolve, and then in just 2 seconds it activates. So the whole process from hitting the water to activate is 2 seconds.
So does it actually need the salt? Does it need salt water to activate, or can it do it in fresh water?
Yeah, it can do it in all kind of water, salt or fresh. So actually, OneUp is thought for the aquatic environment. No matter if it's in the sea, a lake, a river, whatever. There are lots of drownings too in rivers.
Okay. Obviously, you guys are ready for the manufacturing stage and you've had a bunch of prototypes made up. How long did it take you to go from idea to prototype, and then again from prototype to manufacturing ready?
Yes, actually, the idea took a long time, around 1 year, because during that time, Saul was trying to buy different materials. He was sketching, thinking how to make it portable, which shape. At the beginning, he was thinking of a bowl shape. And it was really difficult in this early stage, in this year, because we are in the Canary Islands. We are kind of isolated from the world. You know, we belong to Europe, but we are really close to Africa, only 90 kilometers from Africa and 2,000 kilometers from Europe. So you can imagine everything needs to arrive here by boat and so on. So at the beginning, he was purchasing materials here, and he couldn't find anything that fitted. So it took like a year to develop and find the proper materials and come up with a workable prototype. After that time, manufacturing has really been easy because of my experience and having a drone factory in China. I have 10 years experience in manufacturing, and making a drone is much more complex than making OneUp. So it has been really easy for us, and it just took us 2 months to come up with the first manufacturing production. We made 200 pieces to test the mass production, to test also certifications and so on, and import it for the first time. We also had to check how the logistics was going to be done, because OneUp has a CO2 compressed air bottle, which sometimes is kind of a headache when it comes to air shipping. So we first shipped from the first 200 prototypes, we shipped 150 by boat and 50 by air to check custom clearance also and do the first market tests.
You hit on certifications a little bit, and I saw on your Indiegogo page that there was 3 certifications that were pending. Could you kind of hit on those and tell us what they actually mean and what those certifications do?
Yes, actually, we are working on different certifications. We are first working with the United States Coast Guard's USCG to see if we can certify OneUp to become something that can be carried in the boats and shipping on all kind of navigation. And we are also trying to certify get some certifies from the Spanish Real Federación de Salvamento y Socorrismo, which is something you could say it's similar to the USLA, United States Lifeguard Association. So we're kind of also looking for other certificates like the ISO 9001, everything that certifies that OneUp is a good device and is a trusted device. You know, when it comes to water safety, saving a life, we don't want to have any safety problems.
Obviously, you guys have had an amazing journey thus far, and I'm sure you've hit a few hurdles. What was one of the biggest hurdles that you've had to overcome along this journey so far?
Yes, actually, one of the biggest hurdles was making the prototype itself. As I told you before, it's difficult to get the right materials, to find suppliers here that could have different kinds of materials and so on, and to test everything and make it workable. So that was kind of a headache. And also logistics. Also, the part of shipping by air has been kind of a problem. Not because it's not allowed to carry a CO2 bottle, because it's not really considered a hazmat material, because it's not inflatable, inflammable. But because their airlines and so on, they are not really used to shipping this kind of goods. So this has been a headache too, logistics.
Oh, gotcha. And obviously, on your journey, I'm sure you've had a few failures along the way. Do you have kind of a favorite failure or a failure that, looking back now, is set you up for a lot of success or you learned a lot from it?
Yes, mainly as I said before, being able of making the first prototype. This was like really difficult. If you see the first prototypes, how they inflated and how the shape they had, we always laugh nowadays when we see them. And it has been a long road traveled to arrive to this final prototype. Also, we can say on this side, we can also say that it has really been difficult when dealing with the public sector, especially in Spain. You know, the sentence in Spain is different. This, we have experimented this ourselves. Public sector here, we met politicians when we were invited to a congress about water safety. And we were invited there in the month of October, year 2017, and everybody was impressed with OneUp. We closed the Congress. We were the last one to show in the Congress, and the audience was really excited about the invention. So politicians after this came us and they promised to purchase hundreds of pieces and so on and to quickly implement them. And when you realize that it's not only a matter of what product you have, but a matter of contacts and how to deal in this business sector, this was really difficult to overcome. And we finally managed to sell 600 pieces to the local government.
So for those listeners out there that are maybe in the same boat as you or might come up on that issue, what would be your advice to them?
Well, my advice is that believe in yourself and fight for your dreams. Never give up. You have to see yourself in the worst scenario so you can overcome it. You you also must watch never fall in love with your product. I mean, you must fight for it, but if you see that it's not workable, you have to change your idea. But aim high, be a constant person, a hard worker, and a dreamer. You need to to come excited. And as I said before, aim high.
When you were working with those politicians or waiting for an order, stuff like that, what kind of helped you get through that? Like, what was your big takeaway from that experience?
Well, it was really difficult to work at the beginning because the product was not known, and that was not a familiar environment for us. So it was really difficult to get a meeting, to catch the attention of them. So there was a big change when we started to get interviewed and we appeared on different radio stations and TV, when we started to do our crowdfunding campaign and so on. Actually, there was a big interview that was shown on the national news. And from that, everything changed a little bit, especially because we received a call from the president of our community of the Canary Islands. So that he called us directly. He somehow got our phone and called us. We were really excited when we had the president on the phone, and he said, "Guys, I love your product, and I want to help you. What can I do for you?" So we quickly answered him, "We are waiting for some of the politicians that promised to buy. Please, can you help with this guy?" So he was specifically calling all these guys. And on the next day, we received some calls, and all those politicians that had kept up for many months waiting were straight clear and straightforward. And the process was really quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's how the world works.
When it comes to the future of OneUp, what makes you most excited?
Well, for us, we see this product in every bag, in every car, every caravan, actually every vehicle. Not only cars, but also boats. So we see OneUp like a sun lotion, like you're prepared for protecting from the sun every day. So you must be prepared for protecting from the aquatic environment. Even we see like hotels protecting tourists. Tourists are one of the people that die from drowning. Actually, in the Canary Islands, in our local environment, 80% of the deaths caused by drowning are from tourists, because normally locals, we know the dangers of our environment. So this is something that you need to carry OneUp when you go on holidays, because you don't know where you're going to face. So we see OneUps also in hotels, maybe hanging from the door. So just before you leave your hotel room, you can carry it. And the hotel can charge you if you use it, like you do if you take the towels, or you can bring it back and leave it there from the next user.
So say I do use it, I throw in save someone. I know that you can reuse them. Could you kind of go through that process of how it's reused and how important that was to the product?
Yes. OneUp, as you said, is a reusable device. So this process is really easy. Once it's inflated, you just need to remove the air by pressing the valve, just like the valve from a bicycle. You remove the air, and then you unscrew the CO2 bottle and the salt pot. And then you just screw them back and fold it back to its cover. So it's really easy process, and it can be done many times.
That's really cool. And I thought that was one of the things that really stuck out with this product is that not only will it inflate as soon as it hits the water, but you can reuse it over and over if you need to.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I normally you're not gonna rescue someone every day, but if you do, or if you by chance try to do so, then you can reuse it again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, you're an amazing innovator, and I know that you've worked with other amazing innovators. What is like one of the top qualities that you see in these other innovators that you've worked with?
Well, I see innovators being people that work hard, that chase the dreams, that get excited with the product, with the projects, and especially that are very constant person. A genius can be born, but also it can be trained. So you must chase and work every day, and also get to see what's out there in the world. You know, the new trends, where the world is heading. You need to have a rebel spirit to see what needs to be changed in the world. You need to watch the environment, see what's right and what's needed to be changed. And one of the things I see also is that from these people is that they travel a lot. It's the case of myself. I travel a lot, so I see the world and get to understand it better.
What do you think drives innovators to continue to create?
Well, I think it's a matter of personal satisfaction, I think, and a matter of solving problems. They are not conformist persons. They want to change the world.
That is true.
Yes,
So
that's right.
we're starting to wind down on this podcast interview here, and there's a question that I like to ask every guest, and that is, if you only have $1,000 to start a new business, say you have an idea, where would you go and what would you do with that money? Also, it can't be in the drone industry or the life preserver industry.
Yes, I mean, if you have $1,000, that's a lot of money. You can do many things with $1,000. So as I said before, don't give up. Chase your dream. So you can first start regionally locally with your $1,000. You can see if they are enough to make and test your idea. And if not, you can always chase your family and friends, or as normally people said, like the typical investors are fools. So you can chase family, friends, or fools that can follow your ideas and get more money.
So let's say your grandma gives you $100,000. Now what do you do
Yeah.
with that money?
Well, now that depends on your experience. I I always recommend to team up. It's difficult and you must do it consciously because you have to choose the right person. But there's not a perfect man, but there can be a perfect team, or almost perfect team. So this is very important, and this is what I recommend everybody, to choose the right person and to team up properly, because this is what's going to make you achieve all the different goals.
What advice would you like to leave our listeners with today?
Be careful with the water. Be careful with the water environment. You never know the power of nature, so we must be ready to act if a problem comes. So this comes with prevention. Get to know how to swim. It's really important, and get to know the problems of the sea. So be careful and always carry a OneUP with you.
If our listeners are interested in learning more about OneUp and you guys, what you guys are doing there, where can they find you?
They can find us in our website, www.oneupsaves.com. They can also go to our Indiegogo campaign, and they just search for OneUp there, or to our YouTube or social channels, Facebook, Instagrams, and search for OneUp there.
Absolutely. And I'll have that linked in the show notes for this as well.
Great.
Well, Luis, I wanted to thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed talking with you today. And I really like what you guys are doing with the OneUP and trying to save people. So that's really cool. I wanted to thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
I hope you guys found this interview with Luis as interesting as I did, and I hope you guys thought that the OneUP was really interesting. And if you did, make sure to go check it out. It's on Indiegogo right now if you're listening to this in May 2018. Of course, I will also have links in the show notes page, and you can check that out by going to innovationfreak.com. If you liked this episode and found it really interesting and helpful, please share it with a friend and give it a 5-star rating on iTunes. It really helps this podcast grow. It helps me get amazing guests like you heard Luis today on the podcast. If you have not already signed up for the riddle game, I know a lot of you last week had some really good guesses, and at Tech Day we gave away about 7 or 8 shirts of people that got it right. So congrats to those of you who got it right. If you have not already signed up for the Innovation Freak riddle and gear giveaway, head over to innovationfreak.com/riddle, sign up with your email, and then every Monday I send out an email of some hints or riddle of who's going to be on the podcast that Wednesday. If you then get the riddle right, then you have a chance to win free Innovation Freak gear, which is t-shirts, hats, maybe a product that's been on the podcast before or of that up and coming guest. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Nate K, over and out.